So I'm going to tell you about Playtika's growth by change. You know, it's been a challenge to grow the company for so long in a consistent growth path and for different genres and games and operations over 16 different locations around the globe. But when people talk about growth and the numbers, they kind of forget the psychological effect that growth has on an organization and on people. And that's what I'm here to discuss. I'm just going to give you the pointers I think I've shared before. I've been in online and gaming for the past 16 years. When I'm doing that, I've done products, platforms, software solutions for almost any platform except PlayStation, I think. 7 years at Playtika. I joined as the VP product in 2012. And I've been a GM for 5 years. In the past couple of years, I've been managing a business unit out of Israel. And in almost a year now, I've come to London to open a casual game studio for Playtika. Now, some people might think, casual games, what does it have to do with Playtika? Playtika is supposed to be a social casino company. Well, not anymore. We are not just a social casino company. And if there's one thing I want you to take out of this presentation, and when you go out of here in this room after I blab for like 20 minutes about different stuff, might be interesting, some may not be. Playtika is not just social casino. Playtika today is a casual games company and does social casino. It's really important to understand because it's the mindset change that has driven us to get to this point. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about for the next. So some people change in character, but that's like really, really something rare. Regardless of who you are, where you are, I'm going to tell you a sad fact. People change to, let's say, a single-digit percentage in character. But people can change in behavior. People can change in traits they have. People can change in the way they do things. When they change, the way they do things requires a big change in mindset. And not only the change in mindset, but also the willingness to change and the drive to change. And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about here in these few minutes. You know Playtika like this. So we've been a social casino company since its establishment in 2010. When we've come to existence, we decided to launch a slots game on Facebook, partially in weird languages, partially working, but it worked quite nicely for us. We've been able to acquire a large share of this market, and we've been leading this market for quite some time. But when you look at this, you ask yourself, how do you maintain this path? How do you continue staying on top of the market you're leading? It requires a lot of effort. It requires mainly a lot of talented people and the drive to continuously be number one in whatever it is that you're doing. It's true in user acquisition. It's true in technology. It's true in talent. It's true in a lot of aspects. But that was not enough, regardless of what we do. Regardless if you're at the top of the pyramid and the slope down is really, really, really not nice to anyone. It's not enough. If you want to be the biggest gaming company in the world, and I know it's a bold statement to say, you have to be at a place where you're ahead of the curve in a way, and I know it's a cliche to hear, but you're also looking at reality and saying, okay, great, I'm the biggest fish in this pond, but there's an entirely new pond I want to go to, and I want to be the biggest fish there. And it's like a huge, huge leap of faith that you have to do as a company. And in order to do that step forward, you need to put all of your efforts to get to that point. And how do you get that? So that's part of the stuff that we've been doing lately, and I'm going to share about the steps that we've gone through in the past 2.5 to 3 years. So Playtika acquired Jelly Button. Jelly Button was actually a small developer out of Israel. They developed very successful casual games. These very successful casual games have come to a point, and that point was the right point for us to go and bring them on to this family of Playtika. When we looked at Jelly Button, we saw a talented group of developers, of designers, of technology solutions. We've seen good games with good mechanics. You can see that the people there know how to build games. But we thought when we saw them that that's the right step, that's the right first step, actually, to go into casual games. Because when you're going into something new, completely different than anything else you've done before, and I know that social casino, casual games, to this audience sounds not very much alike. But to everyone else, it sounds very close. Why wouldn't you do this that you've done successfully in social casino and implement it on casual games? Well, it doesn't work like that. Because when you try and do that, you usually don't succeed, and that putting it mildly. So I'm looking at Jelly Button at the time, and Jelly Button at the time were in a good place, but they haven't been able to grow as quickly as they wanted. So once acquired, we've been able to add our specific ingredients that I'm going to be specifying in the next few slides. And Jelly Button has grown in revenue 25x since then. During that process, while looking at the numbers, while trying to scratch our heads and see that it's true, we've been able to grow a casual games company into something really big and significant, both for the top line and the bottom line, we've realized that it's not just a fluke. It's not a mistake. It's not just pure luck. It requires a lot of luck, undoubtedly. But it also requires a lot of skills, and the skills that we have in Playtika today that have allowed us to grow Jelly Button. So this was step number 1. When we've gone to step number 2, it was Wooga. How many of you have known Wooga before? I guess everybody can raise their hand, right? Wooga is a huge company that's been doing casual games for 15 to 20 years. Out of Berlin, completely different than the culture we have in Israel and in anywhere else in Playtika in the world. And we went on to acquire Wooga. Because acquiring Wooga would mean it's not the first step, because Jelly Button was the first step. Wooga is the second step. Step number 3, going to acquire Solitaire, or Super Treat, actually, out of Austria. Grand Solitaire Harvest, completely different game. True, it has cards, but again, a casual game developed by a small group of people. And it's not the last step. Because becoming a casual games company requires a mindset change. And what am I referring to when I'm talking about mindset change? I'm talking about implementing the stuff that we know that worked for us in the past, but shifting them just enough to fit the new kind of products we're building, the new kind of teams we're creating. And I'm going to discuss it in a second. So what has worked for us in the past? I guess some of you can know, some of you can guess. So state-of-the-art user acquisition, we've been doing user acquisition for a long time. It's a group of 100+ people in Playtika that has been able to utilize the biggest, most advanced solutions we can find. And if we can't find them, we build them. And if we can't build them, we buy them. Because every single time that we want to be the best in something, we do both things. Most companies get a choice. They either build or buy. We get to do both. We both build and buy every single time. That's what we did in user acquisition. That's exactly what we did in AI. I know it's a buzzword, just like cloud computing, just like anything else you've been hearing for the past 5, 10, 15 years. I can keep on talking about buzzwords, but I don't care about the buzzword as much as I care about the result of the technology that we've implemented in the company. So the Playtika AI system that was brought by 50+, most of them are PhDs, if I'm not mistaken, that work today in Playtika Israel that have been, I would call it, acquired or acqui-hired from the top universities and the top institutions and the top research centers in Israel to get to be the best in that sense as well. These are some of the parts. What we've been doing, actually, changing the mindset. I've talked about this a couple of times. What does it mean? So you've heard before, and I think the previous presentation talked about the fact that you have 18 months to develop a game. Wrong. You don't have 18 months to develop a game if you're running like crazy and you want to get shit done right. Pardon my French. How do you get that to happen? You put the best people that have successfully released games before, that have been able to manage these games to production, have been able to grow them, and you work crazy fast. How do you work crazy fast? You work crazy fast because you want to get to a point where you can test the product in the market as quickly as possible. So what does fast mean? Fast means 2 to 3 months at most. How can you get the casual games to be tested in 2 to 3 months? And when I mean 2 to 3 months, I'm talking zero in the game, no code, no nothing. Usually somebody thought about something in the shower, woke up in the morning, came to the office, said, okay, I have a good idea for a game. Let's discuss. 10 minutes, we have a decision, we move on. We check that game, works, great. Doesn't work, too bad, we're going to move on to the next one. We've done more than 10 games like that in the past 12 months. So you get a red, you don't succeed. You get an orange, we're not so sure, most likely it's not going to work. And sometimes you get a green. So if you fail fast, if you move fast, if you think fast, if you do everything you can as quickly as you can, you get to the result just a bit faster than everyone else. Monetization know-how, well, that's no secret, right? Everybody knows that social casino people can monetize. But can you apply the technology, the way of thought, the experience, the methodology, the aggressiveness in casual games? Can you take what's been successful in one genre and just shift it to a completely different genre? How can you segment users the same because you don't have the same spread of users? So when you do it in casual games, you change your mindset. Again, you just listen to what the users are telling you. You look at the data. You try to find patterns in wherever you're going, and you identify those patterns and you fit them to the specific mechanisms that you used before. But again, it's not just taking it, just putting it on something and hoping it will work. This will not work. So changing this mindset. Now I'm going to talk about something quite, popular. I haven't met any manager that doesn't speak about the importance of talent, of people, of changes in people, about flexibility, about the ability to grow, and all the buzzwords that sometimes don't mean a lot. Because I don't know a lot of companies that have taken an HR person and have put him responsible for a business unit. Sounds weird, I know, but that's exactly what we do. I don't know a lot of companies where a VP product in one of the business units have become an HR person. And it's not just HR, I promise you. We do that with analytics. We do that with user acquisition. We do that with monetization people. We do that with everyone. We've taken an R&D manager that has never managed a business, and we've put him in charge of something. When you do that, that's a growth mindset. That's a mind shift. That's how you make an organization adapt and change quickly enough. And you make it just like I've said before. You think fast, you move fast. You just do it fast. You can fail fast. But at least if you fail fast, you save time. Time is the only thing you can't buy back. So this is exactly what we've been doing with casual games. When you look at the road we've taken, the timeline I've talked about, the steps we've seen, and the next steps ahead, I'm actually excited. Oh, 1 minute. I didn't know you have some. So actually, that's exactly what we're doing. And I haven't spoken about the fact that we're doing it exactly here in London. I've come to London about a year ago, coming to London building the first ever casual game studio out of scratch. I had chairs and tables in the office. I had a very nice office, true, but chairs and tables. Now I have a very talented team, has been able to release a couple of iterations of the same game, a game we've never done before, a game that might rise, and a game that might fail. But we did it really quickly. The office was opened end of last year. Within 2.5 months, we had a game in production. We've tested it in 2 markets. Since then, we've tested a couple more versions. And we're hiring for that. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because whatever it is that you're doing, you need to remember, applying what you know just as is doesn't work. Change the mindset. When you shift your mindset, When you take the Big Ben and slap a big bad cheetah on it, it's just for illustration. But it's not. It's adapting to the local market. It's the ability to climb the next mountain in a way that is not exactly like you've done it before. And it also means something else. And this is something that's really unique to Playtika and really unique to Robert, that has always seen farthest than anyone I've seen before. You do it when you're the strongest, when your business is the most profitable, when you feel like you're in the top of the world and you can't go any further, then you change again. And we've done it in the past couple of years, 4 to 5 times that I can remember, completely changed the organizational structure, changed the way we do things, changed the way we work, changed every single thing we do. And Playtika today is something completely different than it was a year ago, and completely different than 2 years ago. And I have no effing idea where it's going to be in a year from now. But I promise you this, change will be constant. And in this change, we will continue going like this. Because if I would look at this graph or look at this slide about a year ago, I would see like 6 to 7 games. And this is a much shorter list than reality because we have about another 10 games that's not here. We are 2,500 employees now, 16 locations around the globe, 27 million monthly active users. And we're going to change again, I promise you this. But it's not just a change. It's a change in the mindset when we are the strongest that will make us continue growing like we've done before and continue doing. Thank you.
When you talk about making several iterations of the same game, does that mean you sort of take a game and try different metas on it, or sort of structure it slightly differently and test it in different ways and then decide on which way to go with, or just keep developing sort of the same one until it fits?
I think I will answer my personal opinion because I've been doing product for the past 16 years and I'm going to give you my way of thought. I'm saying something like this. You need to verify that a product has a good product market fit, right? So somebody wants to play your game. So what we're looking at, and it's not something new, people are looking at retention. If this retention factor is good enough, then great, you can continue developing exactly the same game and improving the retention baseline. But if it doesn't, then you need to do a 90-degree change. Again, change again. I know, it's kind of boring, but that's what you do. Where are you exactly going to shift it? I don't know, because it depends on the game. If you do a puzzle game, and the puzzle game is just like any other puzzle game in the market, could be a good idea if you have a very unique user acquisition strategy. But it's not going to be sustainable for a long term. If you want to build a business for a long term, you want people to like your product. So if they haven't liked your product to begin with, then you need to change it drastically. Because if it's not drastic enough, it's not going to fly. So it doesn't help. So in which direction? Really depends on the situation. But mostly I would do a drastic change. Thank you, and enjoy the conference.